Welcome back to another video. As you know, we will dissect and look at all forms of self-improvement. And once again, we're going to continue on the topic of finance, part 2 of the video I did yesterday from the email I got from a gentleman out of India. If you like this kind of content, please be sure to subscribe, smash that like button. Okay, so I did get a response from my man from India. He says, "Hey Romans, just saw the video and want to say thanks for taking my request. I will definitely make a bank account after the lockdown ends. It requires a bunch of documents which I can manage. People here do invest in gold and platinum, and I will look into that more. However, we don't have Bitcoin vending machines. Because of the high risk involved, only crazy rich people invest in Bitcoins. I also heard that Bitcoins will become obsolete after a few years to control crime and all, but I don't know how much of that rumor is true. I am pretty sure that Indians can invest in New York stocks, as I have heard people talking about it, but I am not very familiar about this whole concept of stocks. Hence a video on that would be really helpful. I just want to know what they are in layman's terms, risk involved in it, and how to invest in stocks smartly." Well, we're definitely going to go over that in this video. Let's read his email further. By the end of the video, you talked about Fiverr and Upwork, which is exactly what I plan to do. Okay, good. Once my profile looks good, it's very easy to make money from these platforms. I'm thinking of learning animation, Photoshop, along with coding, which is part of my course, and make money using these skills. Very good. In India, working as a delivery boy, barista, or cleaner is seen as lower class employment. It's very different from any other country. These jobs are taken by illiterates, orphans, and people who couldn't make it in life. It's sad, but it's true. Doing these jobs here lowers one's social status and SMV. That's one of the backward conservative side of India. Hence, of the few students who do earn while in college, almost all of them are indulging in some online activity or business. With that said, it's crazy to see how much easier it is for girls of my age to earn money. All they gotta do is set up an OnlyFans account and put a price tag on their pussy, LOL. I had a few female friends who used to do this in high school too, selling nudes through Snapchat. Surely there's an epidemic of beta cucks who pay for these pics. Shaking my head. Finance-related things were never taught by my family. They just assumed that I'll get it someday. Through magic? Neither was I taught these things in school, as I didn't have accounts or business studies as a subject. So if you could recommend me some books, videos for further reading, I would be grateful. It's just that there are tons of videos and books on the subject. It can be quite overwhelming to go through each one to determine which one's the best. Thanks. Awesome. Okay, so I decided to read your whole email because, this channel isn't just about finance, and there's a lot of things about the Indian culture you just taught me. So, it's cool to learn from each other. So let's go into the beginning. You do say that people do invest in precious metals, which is awesome. You don't have the Bitcoin vending machines. Yeah, and I have looked at it. It does appear that cryptocurrencies are not favored by the Indian government. Is that right? Well, you guys did just get a crypto exchange that was invested in by the American one, Coinbase. And it looks like back in 2018, there was some articles that said that you guys banned crypto. And then later this year, it says that India unbanned crypto. So it's a little bit confusing. And that's probably why you're not seeing the Bitcoin machines in India. And that's fine, right? And yeah, you're totally right. Bitcoin is a very, very big risk, and people that follow this channel come from Social Galactic, and the owner of Social Galactic, Vox Day, says Bitcoin is basically not going to be a thing. Owen Benjamin thinks it's a major scam, and you know what? They don't have any proof that it's one way or the other. So I agree that it is super, super high risk. I wouldn't even worry about it right now if I were you. Your government doesn't like it, and if they can see that you own it, they might try to tax it. I don't know. But, it's funny because if China and India tomorrow were to say Bitcoin is legal and we support it, the price of Bitcoin would go through the roof, and you would wish you had some. So it's very interesting how it works that way. Let's see. You are not familiar with stocks, and you hear about some Indians investing in New York stocks. Good. And when I say New York stocks, it's just that we call the big stock exchange here in America the New York Stock Exchange, and it's probably famous around the world, I imagine. So let me tell you what a stock is, and try to make it as layman, as simple as I can. So it does sound complicated at first, but essentially a stock is a tiny sliver of a company. So if you own a stock in Microsoft, well, congratulations. You own a tiny little piece of Microsoft. That's right. You are now a Microsoft shareholder, and you own a piece of Microsoft. Even if it's one share worth like a share of Microsoft is like $200 or something today. I don't know. If you own a share of a company, you are a very, very small owner of that company. You can't make any decisions, but you can make money by selling the stock when it's worth more. You can lose money by selling the stock when it's worth less. Or you can also make money through something called dividends, which is the board of the company, the people who own the most stock and own so much of it that they are in a position to make decisions about the company, decide that they want to pay out their shareholders simply for owning the company. And it's a decision. It's not a requirement. So in my previous videos, I talked about this, but AT&T, a very big American telecommunications, like phone and cellular company, they pay a very nice dividend, I think of around 7%. So if you own $100 worth of AT&T, you're going to get like $7, something like that. I'm not sure if I'm doing the math exactly right or whatever, but that's what a dividend is. Now, Amazon, for example, does not pay a dividend. If you want to make money from Amazon, you have to buy the stock at a certain point, and then you have to sell it when it's worth more than what you bought. So that's stock ownership in a very simple term, and that's how you can make money or lose money. Now, technically, you don't lose money if you don't sell, in my opinion. Like, other people might disagree with you. So, like, let's just say you bought a share of Amazon for, I think it's $2,500 today, or like $2,300. And then Amazon sinks. Like, the company does really poorly, its reputation goes to crap, and that share becomes $200. If you sold the share, yes, you would be out $2,100. If you do nothing, nothing happens. You just don't have any money if you sell it. Now, I hope that doesn't get too confusing, but I'm one of those people that says you haven't lost any money until you sell a stock at a lower price. The thing is, if you invest too much in the stock market, then you become emotionally attached, and it becomes very emotional, and that can be good or bad. So what I mean by that is, let's say you open up this bank account that you've been wanting to do. You start doing your Fiverr and your Upwork thing, and all of a sudden you've made your first $1,000. Then you invest all of it in the stock market, and then the stock market crashes the next day. You're going to be like super sad. Now, put yourself in a different position. Like, you've got your parents who are helping you out. Put yourself in a position where you do not, like a lot of people around the world, do not have parents helping them out, and they've got their money that they make from their job. They don't have a ton in savings, but they've decided to put all their money in the stock market. If the stock market goes up, they're extremely happy because they can sell and get all that money back and make and with some profit too, right? But if they look at their money and the market crashes and then they need money for rent, well, they're fucked. They put all their money in the stock market, they need rent, the stock market crashed, they literally have to sell their stock to get $5. Do you see what I'm saying? Just to like try to pay a bill with whatever, because they put all their money in the market. The point I'm making for you is, don't ever invest more than you feel comfortable losing. When you put in money in the stock market, you need to say, this is the amount of money that I could watch go to zero and I wouldn't cry or lose any sleep over. That's how you invest in anything, whether it's Bitcoins, other crypto, like stocks, bonds, precious metals. You definitely don't ever want to invest more than you're willing to lose. And if you do, it's a gamble. Big gamble. So yeah, I hope that helps you understand the concept of what a stock is. It is essentially the ownership of a company or legal entity. So Amazon, Microsoft. I'm sure there are tons of companies in India that are publicly traded on some kind of Indian stock exchange. I don't know much about that. But yeah, that should hopefully get you a little bit more knowledgeable. I do like that you mentioned that you knew about Fiverr and Upwork, because it sounds weird, but we call it outsourcing in America. If I hire someone from India, it's because it's way cheaper to pay someone in India with my US dollars than it is to hire an American to do the same job. And it is what it is. That is the downside of free trade for the Americans and the upside of free trade for the Indians, right? Because the dollar will go very far in India, I'm sure much further than it would in America. And I didn't know this about the Indian work culture, but delivery boy, barista, cleaner, I did all those jobs, and in America it's seen as like, oh, you didn't have to work because your parents were taking care of you, but you had a job because your parents were good and made you learn the importance of like the value of creating your own money. But you said that only the illiterates and the orphans take those jobs in India, and I think that's because poverty in India is so much worse than poverty in America. We have the biggest safety net for people who are poor in America. They don't even realize, like, even the poorest Americans, other than the homeless people, the ones who have homes, are on so many government programs that they're still not going to be as poor as the poorest person from India or Africa. Not to compare your country with the African continent. That's probably pretty insulting. Sorry about that. That's probably why it is that way. It's very interesting to hear from you. I appreciate you giving me some insight into the Indian culture. And yeah, man, on that note of girls posting their OnlyFans or their Instagram nudes, it is super sad. It seems to be a global phenomenon. Snapchat, Instagram, OnlyFans, even Twitch, which was supposed to be for gaming, is about this now. And all girls have to do is show up and do their streams in a skimpy outfit or do their nudes, and it's just like, yeah, man, the money they can make is unreal. And it's sad because it really shows the nature of how basically the whole world is full of beta cucks, as you said it. It doesn't matter what country you're in. These guys would never even walk up to a girl and try to ask them out. Will feel that they're getting attention from females by paying them, and they have no idea how damaging that is, not only for their wallet, but their self-esteem, their confidence. They'll never rise out of that unless somebody snaps them out of it and just red pills them, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's super sad, but it seems to be a global phenomenon. And, finance things were not taught by your family and not by your schools. Same here in America. You usually have to be going to a really good private school. It's very rare for a public school to teach anything about finance or economics or facts about politics, like actual statistics and not just social justice, as well as health and dieting. They just don't do it, and I think it's sad, but I think it's because they don't want people learning how to save money. They love it when people get in debt, and they want people to be fat so they can feed the machine of taking care of fat people instead of fat people doing what's right and preventing themselves from catching diseases and getting sick and dying. But yeah, I hope that explains how to invest in stocks, as well as reasons why your country might not like crypto and whatnot. Don't worry about crypto at all. Just be thinking about this, but don't go too hard. Get that bank account, and we'll go from there. All right, buddy. See ya. Hey, thank you so much for listening or watching the video today, I want to ask you, what kind of things do you want to hear about? You know what we really focus on in this channel? It's about men's education, right? The manly arts, finance, religion, and health and fitness. So if you got any questions around these topics or things that you think might be relatable or that I could bring any fact or opinion on, by all means drop a comment below, and feel free to email me at rightofpassage85@gmail.com. Thanks so much. Take care.